Since its rival Ghostwire Tokyo has been sort of a mystery developed by Tango Gameworks Horror Adventure. Fans were presented with these ambitions titled as featured first-person actions with an open-world design. It's an incredible venture into this genre, but I feel like the team found a perfect balance of horror themes and actions, set pieces that make Ghostwire Tokyo a must-play game of 2022. Ghostwire Tokyo introduces us to a very dead Akito who has just been revived by a wandering spirit named KK. To make matters worse, amidst his battle in Tokyo killing every human and ushering in a wave of yokai, is straight out of a nightmare for Akito, who must quickly come to terms with these situations. So he does not return to the afterlife. The narrative has a few story beats, but my favorite is the relationship between Akito and KK. They are both strangers to the player and to each other, so every new story detail is revealed to the group as we figure it out together. The symbiotic relationship between these two also evolves. As Akito searches for this sister and KK wraps up some unfinished business involving his research, their goals require them to work together, but they don't always see eye to eye. There are some real struggles here, but where Akito falls short in his understanding of this supernatural work, KK is there to keep the narrative going throughout. The game other characters are introduced in a few unequivocal voice. I was glad to see this developer continue to bend reality, which was one of the strongest themes of their previous games. As Akito gains confidence in himself, you begin to feel that same way, and then a curveball comes and you are back to sneaking around the streets hoping to avoid any enemies. Tension is vital in any horror game, and Ghostwire Tokyo provides some terrifying moments. I could attribute this to the limited ammo health item, taking a bit of time to consume of the fast as hell yokai. But honestly, credit where credit is due. Tango Gameworks has created a beautiful game. The environment seems to have been mythologically pieced together so that each district has a distinct look to its future. The dungeons are all presently unequivocal, making them fun to explore using a great fighting system. However, I should note that also rooftop access is a thing. I found traveling by rooftops to be residue. Still, you have to go up to the top for collectibles in some missions. The game does not force you to travel by rooftop, but it's definitely less scary, and there are some secret lost souls around that will distract you as you try to figure out how to access them. Ghostwire Tokyo has some interact features that make most encounters thrilling. When it comes to combat, once you get to chapter 3, the game assumes you know how to handle yourself, and that's ultimately when the fights become increasingly more interesting. The yokai get stronger and they pressure you to make quick decisions, similar to a horror movie where someone drops the key while they're trying to unlock the door. The encounters are some instance that you stumble over your next move's enemy. Design is critical and there is a decent rarity. The idea is to remove or destroy the yokai's core. There are several ways to do this, but this quest method of using a lasso or breaking it with your hand leaves you open to attack, which should always be considered. The yokai are not the most intelligent, and I have seen, but they are relentless. They are also boss type yokai and a group of strange beings that you will have to face off against throughout the adventure. The antagonist here has no sympathy for human life, which adds to his mincing. Percent controls take some getting used to as you master the elemental attacks and the limits of KK's powers, but it does become easy to negative. I attribute this to how the game feels like it's being built around the DualSense controls. The speaking haptic feedback in the triggers and the touchpad are all utilized in ways that I was not necessarily used to. However, It did not feel gimmickly either, instead it all just felt natural after gaining experience. New skills are unlocked, but I found that unlocking the skills that improve the timing of defeating a high or collecting spirits are the most important. As there are few too many hold down L2 prompts in this game, other skills improve your elemental attacks. And there are other equipable items to improve Akito's New York High killing hobby. There are moments in gameplay where the rules will change as restraints are placed on Akito's access to KK's true skills, however that only limits the monotony that some open world games can instill in player side missions. Riddle the streets that take players to summon Q dungeons or open the world up just a little bit more with future understanding.